Hi, everybody. This is day 1370. It's April 24th, 2024. And it's been a big day. So let me make sure that I'm on Facebook before I start. Everything looks good. I'm live. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And we posted the information that we received today. The day started out, well, let me give you a little bit of history here to put everything in context. About a week and a half ago, we decided to be a friend of the court, and that's called an amicus brief. If you put a brief to it, you can call it an amicus notice. Most of the time it's called amicus brief. I mean, it's like a big debate, but whatever. And why did we decide that? Because Fort Bliss is in El Paso. In El Paso, the justice system is broken, and of course, Fort Bliss's security is breached, and so that became very, very obvious to us that something had to be done. We'd have to go somewhere else. And so for 4 years to legally find avenues where we could get answers, it brought us to having a lot of evidence, and because I'm just waiting for people to come on now. And we had information that was very important to our son's case, that was also important to the SB4 federal case. And so we decided to share that information. And it was about Bill Hicks, that the DA office that had ignored us, that even blocked our emails when we asked for open records. They didn't ignore us. What they did was send us a letter that they would have sent to the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, to request that they don't have to share information with us. So through all of those dealings and Reyes Mata's article, thank you, Team Fine Richard Halliday, for bringing that to our attention, because that was a huge break in our son's case. Reyes Mata's article in El Paso Inc., we had to read it like 5 times to totally get everything that was going on in that article, because it was so important to our son's case. And we then went and asked for evidence, open records, to corroborate what Reyes Mata had found out, with the help of David Fisher, and with El Paso Inc. willing to publish the findings. And the findings are that Bill Hicks is a usurper, okay, in the district attorney's office there. So we put in an amicus to share all what we had found with the SB4 case, because Bill Hicks was a party to that case, and it's a huge case. It's a very, very big case with all these civil rights attorneys and also Governor Abbott. And so we decided this had to be done. It's such a big case. It's for our country's sake. And also, somehow, somewhere, when you do something good comes back, something good comes back. That's what we were hoping for. And somebody might pick up Richard's name and help us. And so we put in the amicus notice. Somebody picked up Richard's name and helped us and provided even more evidence and even more evidence for the illegality of the medical examiner, the chief medical examiner there in El Paso also, which we knew was also smelling really bad. We knew that things were not good there. And so this what corroborated what we knew. And so when this happened today, all of that shook everything up because we didn't sit on the evidence. We shared the evidence. We shared the evidence with the courts. We shared the evidence with any agency, any organization that would have an interest that this would benefit, that they would need to know. And so what this did is, we feel, force the hand of the military to come out with a stone of truth. A stone of truth that we knew all along, didn't we? Team Find Richard Halliday knew it all along, that Richard was deceased, that he had been retaliated against for being a whistleblower severely and continuously, and it was on Fort Bliss. It was on Fort Bliss. And that the barracks were not following the standard operating procedures. Security was being breached everywhere you looked. And Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks, tortured, and murdered. Today, yesterday, the Army CAO contacted us because they wanted to come by. We have been in so many meetings, and the trust has been broken so badly. Okay, because we would give them information. They would say, you need to investigate, you need to bring us all what you have. Bring us everything you have. Bring us leads. Bring us everything you have. Tell us everything. Over and over again. And even in this board of inquiry, we gave them so much. Not everything we had, but we gave that because, that you would have to write like a book the size of an encyclopedia or more, right? But we gave them all of the top things we had, right? Maybe not, we gave them a lot. And even in this board of inquiry report, casualty report, they left out what we gave them. They left out what we gave them. The tampering is still going on. Now, their conclusion, and we're very grateful for it, is correct. Their conclusion was that Richard is deceased. But that absolutely, because of the report that we received today, is clearly not an accurate report on the evidence that for years we have gathered and tested and corroborated and substantiated and gave them. And so it took them a long time to give them no choice but to do the right thing in designating Richard deceased. This is a designation that had to happen because you understand they absolutely were not helpful at all in paying Richard's bills, stopping subscriptions that he has, getting the academic records from university, and many other things. Many other things that needed to be done to help our son's situation, and what the military absolutely can do, absolutely has done in the past for many, and yet they refused. I mean, Jack cut us off. Okay? Remember at the beginning they threw us out. And, so clearly this, the CAO calling, we said, first we want the paperwork and then we will meet with you. We want the paperwork with a signature, with the stamp. We want it official. With, on that beautiful paper that has the watermark. We want it official because we don't trust you, and we need to protect the rights of our son and the rights of our family. We need to know if there needs to be a lawyer with us. And you know what? Even in them delivering the message that our son is deceased, they pulled a fast one. At 8:20 this morning, they showed up at the door when we said we would not meet with them until we received the paper. They can't even honor a simple request like that. They came to our door, 2 soldiers, 1 a chaplain. Not even our CAO came. Can you believe it? They sent 2 soldiers. These were soldiers that were following orders, that were pawns. And this was without any intent. These orders that they were following was so dishonoring and without any integrity for what happened to Richard, and for our family. At 8:20 this morning, it was a disgrace, and it was unacceptable. We are a military family. We understand that fallen soldiers, they go into the media very quickly. And so that the military to come to your door and beat the media to make sure that you hear it from them before you hear that your loved one has been killed. So we understand. But in our case is very different. This is 4 years. The media has essentially blocked us out. We have been shadow banned. They just drag this out and drag it out, tiring people out with the story. It has been very hard work to keep Richard's case alive. They wanted to make it cold case. So to dishonor us like they did today, to dishonor Richard like they did today, and not even provide the paperwork and then make an appointment to and meet with us, or why isn't the 4-star requesting a meeting with us with what was delivered, with what has happened to Richard? So this was also an psyop, an intentional way to harm us, to deliver this very, very upsetting news that we knew from the beginning. Team Find Richard is right. We have been right. We know it because we've checked it and checked it and checked it again. And we have given them this information over and over and over again, and they ignore it. They bury it. They manipulate it. They twist it. And, I can tell you very easily 10 different circumstances where they've done that. And people that have followed this case absolutely know that they've done that. And just recently, we received the video of Richard where he's so beautiful. And we were told almost 4 years ago the opposite, which was a lie. We were told lie after lie after lie, and were, tampered with, manipulated, bullied. The CAO, the first CAO, caught red-handed using asymmetric warfare tactics on us over and over and over again. They are covering something up, so we're here to tell you what that is. And after these, and I'm not even, I'm not upset and of these two that came to the door, they're following orders, right? This is the thing about the military. You have to have good leadership because the military is not a democracy. You follow orders. And when you have rotten leaders, failed leaders, leaders that betray, leaders that are not held accountable, they give rotten orders, unlawful orders, dishonorable orders, orders without any integrity, without any good intention. They're up to no good, clearly. And so we're here to tell you what happened, because we've been right all along, because we had nothing to gain except for our son's remains, and we still don't have our son's remains. So even now, with this official declaration or designation that Richard is deceased, this is a small victory for us, because it verifies, it confirms that Team Find Richard Halliday was right. We were right. As much as we were bullied, as much as they used asymmetric warfare tactics, as much as they stole our identity, stole our Team Find Richard Halliday identity, Richard's identity, as much as they bullied us and everything, They came to our door today. We turned them away. And just, an hour later, we received the email, the paperwork. The paperwork's supposed to come in the mail. Now, why couldn't they send people after we received the paperwork? It wasn't because of those soldiers in their beautiful blue uniforms that we received the information, because we turned them away. We said, this is unacceptable. Go away. We don't want to hear what these failed leaders have ordered you to tell us. So we received it, and we are now asked to, participate with this CAO. We have a lot of thinking to do. We have a lot of praying to do. But we were right. Richard is deceased. And we're right about the prime suspect, Dallas Hart. Dallas Hart, we have the evidence. Dallas Hart was Richard's platoon leader. He is the prime suspect in the murder of our son. And one of the jewels, out of what happened today, is that in the paperwork we received, or email we received, the file, they absolutely corroborated, confirmed, verified that CID tampered and interfered in the investigation of our son. And that is huge. So we have that. And we know that because of our whistleblower. The whistleblower in this case, Judge Roger Rodriguez, who filed a complaint about Tavita Nusa, CID Tavita Nusa, and Leilani Hart, that Tavita Nusa even admitted, confessed that he had done bodily harm, that they had done bodily harm. And this report was sent to Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, then the commanding officer of Fort Bliss. And Tavita Nusa lost his badge. The CID, this is an inside job. This is an inside job, and that the CID were part of it. They were part of it. And Tavita Nusa was part of it. And his girlfriend, Leilani Hart, part of it. And he was giving her unauthorized access to CID files. And we know that because we spoke to James Courtney Hart. We spoke to him. We have it on record. And also that and this is James Courtney Hart is the husband of Leilani Hart. And absolutely, he confirmed that he was under investigation. Why? Because of Leilani Hart's affidavit that we have the numbers for, the CID number for, the FBI number for. And so as we were right that Richard had been murdered. We're right about this because we have a witness, because we have corroborating witnesses, because we have the affidavit, because we have irregularities, because we have circumstantial evidence. And it was because of this whistleblowing of Leilani Hart having unauthorized access to the CID and bragging that she runs a CID. She has her boyfriend. They're in, he's married, she's married, but that doesn't stop them. And it doesn't stop them from tampering with files, with people's lives. And why? Because her son is Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader. And they were up to no good. And how do we know they were up to no good? Because she submitted an affidavit that was coached to be referred to the FBI and was accepted by the FBI, that they were in possession of child pornography, that they were involved in incest, that they were involved in sexually assaulting a 7-year-old, and the 7-year-old is a dependent of a soldier on Fort Bliss. Okay, we know who that child was and is. And was sexually assaulted in Leilani Hart's master bedroom by multiple members of the household. With a friend like Leilani Hart, who needs an enemy? Who needs an enemy with a friend like her? And her son is Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader. And illegally purchasing weapons, life threats. I'm trying to go through from memory what's all in the affidavit. Because Dallas Hart is the prime suspect for the murder of our son. And we have given them the evidence. And because this is an inside job and it spills out over into the Walmart case, it spills over into the usurper, Bill Hicks, and the DA. It spills out into the illegal chief medical examiner, right, who's botching the whole legal system there with illegal autopsies. It's right now the county attorney resigned. Ted Cruz canceled his trip to El Paso. He has to give back all the money, his fundraising money. Why did he do that? It spills over to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. It spills over because Bob Moore embraced Leilani Hart, a convicted criminal from Dreams Cabaret. A convicted criminal from Dreams Cabaret, and Bob Moore embraces her and uses her to hinder, to obstruct, to tamper, to retaliate against a witness, a whistleblower in our case, because Richard's case uncovers exposes so many other things. So can you believe it that Bob Moore, we've tried, what, a dozen times? And he'll come on a live stream and then he'll delete it. But he won't speak with us officially because he's owned. El Paso Matters is owned by El Paso Community Foundation, West Star Bank. So everything is this. What I'm trying to say today, and it's been a very emotional day, of course, is that this had to happen. This determination had to happen. That Richard is deceased. We've pushed and pushed with the evidence and through all of the letters and Team Find Richard Halliday was right. We were working behind the scenes. And we're right going forward to accountability also. We want our son's remains. We want our son's remains because we want our son's remains, right? And we have evidence that they have Richard's remains. So this is a little victory, a step in the right direction. We have the determination now that he is deceased. Well, now we need accountability so we can get his remains. And this report is more evidence of them not interviewing our whistleblower. And we had a couple whistleblowers. We have a couple. And, they've been attacked, retaliated against continuously, severely. So, more evidence that they didn't mention Nadal Baim, right? They didn't mention Judge Roger Rodriguez. They didn't mention Thomas Kane, the DES, and his letter. They didn't, so, but this is, we'll take this because this says there's a shift and that the institutional support that the criminals were getting, that has diminished. That's gone. And most of the time they can say, okay, you have a dead soldier now, son, daughter, whatever, go away. Not in this case. We want our son's remains. We want justice for Richard. We want accountability. We want accountability. So let me read the comments now. Or were they coming to give you information where Richard Halliday's remains and declared him deceased? No, the military, and I'm really sad to report this, but just like we were right and have been right, and I don't want to sound so bold, but this is a battle of narratives. And their narrative has just failed. They had no choice because our evidence is so good and is piled so high. And we have been putting it behind the scenes, letter after letter after letter after letter, everywhere, everywhere. And it has stuck. It has stuck. And so this declaration that Richard is deceased, or designation that he's deceased, was not of goodwill. It was not of goodwill. And I'm so sorry to say that, because if it was, I would absolutely tell you. I would absolutely tell you, oh my goodness, the army has come around. Their heart of stone has turned into a heart of flesh. Their failed leadership has now gained some honor and integrity again. But that's not what happened. They sent 2 soldiers here to pull a fast one. And I don't even think the 2 soldiers understood what was going on. Because not even the casualty affairs officer came with them. Yet, he told us later, when we received the files, that he was here, nearby. Is that a coward or something? Is that a coward? No, because he knew that we had told him, we cannot meet with you. We cannot meet with you because we're concerned about our legal rights, about our civil rights. Our house was illegally searched. Richard's rights have been broken over and over and over again. The CID is the suspect. This is an inside job. And today the file confirmed that it's an inside job. You see, that was very clear because we received the evidence of the Interpol. First, that Interpol was used. That means it's a binational crime scene. 2, that Richard was a yellow Interpol notice. That means he had no criminal record at all. He was not a deserter. He was a missing person. That was all that they could do. Right? And then 3rd, that they used Dallas Hart's face. And who's the one that sent the photo, the manipulated picture, to Interpol? Well, we received confirmation today. It was CID. CID with Marlon Soto and none other but Tavita Nusa. Fort Bliss CID sent a tampered photo to Interpol. Doesn't just take any photo. You have to be a law enforcement agency to provide a photo to Interpol. It has to have a where you can trace it back, right? And it has to be vetted. Well, they gave Interpol a picture that was superimposed with Dallas Hart's face. And just recently, because we had worked on that for, I would say, almost a year, they finally finished their investigation and they took it down. Interpol just doesn't take a picture down. So this was clear evidence. And then today, who gave the picture to Interpol? Fort Bliss CID. They were working together. So that's Dallas Hart. And, put it all together. This was an inside job, was manipulated. We knew it. We have been so patient and, keep Richard's case alive, keep investigating. See, the difference with many cases and our case is that they turned us into the investigators. And so we kept investigating because we knew that what they were saying stunk. We knew this was an inside job. We told everybody as well as we could with the evidence, with Nadal Baim, with the Interpol. I mean, just the Interpol itself was huge information. So I don't know if the media is going to pick up on this. I don't know. I hope they do, because Fort Bliss is breached and there's wrongdoing on Fort Bliss. And Major General Eisenhower, we hold him accountable. We have been providing him with everything. He had a hand in obstructing justice in our son's case, which is intentionally criminal. Totally intentionally criminal. And so we have to use what we received today to move forward, to continue to get Richard's remains. To get Richard's remains. We want his remains. We know they have his remains. And we have D.S. Thomas Kane. We have DHS for the DOS, Jaime Corona. We have Nadal Baim. We have Judge Roger Rodriguez. We have now we have David Fisher calling CID. We don't have a missing soldier. We don't have a missing soldier. Well, then you have his remains. So we want to thank everyone very, very much for getting us to this point, sticking with us and sharing all of this. And we're so grateful to you. And we want that the soldiers on Fort Bliss are cared for. Their obligation is to care for our soldiers, to follow those SOPs, follow the rules and regulations that are there, because it's for the safety, for the well-being of our sons and daughters that volunteer to serve our country. And there's a breach on Fort Bliss that doesn't have to be there. And it is absolutely what caused the forced removal in uniform. Don't forget, Richard was in uniform. Richard was in uniform. The forced removal of him from Fort Bliss in uniform to be murdered. That happened on Fort Bliss. So that means that if they fail to correct the breaches, who's next? They must. And Major General Eisenhower has failed to correct the breaches on Fort Bliss, putting our sons and daughters in danger. That's what's going on here. And Team Find Richard Halliday, and I know Rob and I, absolutely Rob and I, do not want anyone to have to go through this. So, we thank you so much, and we will be back on tomorrow, God willing. And let me see more comments. Thank you so much. Now that they've proven he's deceased. Okay, wait a minute. They didn't prove he's deceased. You and us, Team Find Richard Halliday, has proven that he is deceased. We have proven it so big, so wide, so deep, that they had no other way to go than to say he's deceased. Okay? They didn't prove it. We proved it. Team Find Richard Halliday. Let's see. 6 more comments. If they determined him deceased, they know where his remains are, in my opinion. Otherwise, he would still be considered missing, in my opinion. Absolutely. 100%. Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Even with the huge amount of evidence they've tried to disregard, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but this first, now accountability, and they won't have anywhere to go except for to give us our son's remains and to hold those that murdered Richard accountable. And don't forget, the key suspects, or the prime suspects, are Dallas Hart, Tavita Nusa, and Leilani Hart, the convicted criminal from Dreams Cabaret. Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader. Tavita Nusa, Fort Bliss CID agent who lost his badge. And Leilani Hart, convicted criminal of Dreams Cabaret. Those are the prime suspects. There's others, but those are the prime. Thank you. We don't want you to go through this. Thank you, Anicia. Thank you. The media absolutely needs to pick up on this. Absolutely. My heart breaks for you and your family. Thank you so much, Stacy. It's your support that has kept Richard's case alive, in order, because that's a very big deal in getting them to act. Remember, with Vanessa Guillen, they were forced. They were driven. That's what Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe said to us. They were driven to do the right thing. In Vanessa Guillen's case, that's what they were driven. So that was a big lesson in all of this. So thank you so much. God bless you. Please share. Please comment. Even though this is emotionally so difficult, it is a victory. And it's not the final battle, though. So God bless you, and we'll be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye.